Hey guys, Jesse here with Canine Perspective, and I wanted to do a quick video on a couple of dogs that we have here. These dogs that I would refer to as serious dogs. When they bite with intention. They have a good buzz, a serious bite, but we treat them a bit differently. One of them here is Buddy. I've known Buddy for a long time. He's just moved to the back of the kennel now. Uh, I trained Buddy very early on in my career. He comes to us for boarding. So we see him, I would say, anywhere between 4 to 6 times a year. And then we have a newer dog just behind me named Fitz. But the way we treat Buddy and Fitz currently is a bit different. Like I said, Buddy's been coming to us for a while now, whereas Fitz is a newer dog. I think he's been coming to us in the recent 2 months. It is currently end of June 2026. But he did a lengthy program with me just prior to beginning daycare and boarding with us. Okay, so for Buddy, myself and staff included, when we go for Buddy, as you can see, he willingly comes forward. Tail is wagging, tail is loose. Wagging tail doesn't always mean happy tail, but you can see where it's not an issue for him to come out to us. And that's the biggest difference between these two guys, is that for Fitz and Buddy, because he's known me for a long time, I've not ever had an issue with Buddy, ever. Newer staff will have issues with Buddy in the beginning because he doesn't know them, he's unfamiliar with them. But once he gets used to a new staff member, they're able to handle him. There have been times where he's been questionable with staff. If I can find the clip, I'll put it here. And in a case like that, I tell staff, just don't touch him. But then 98% of the time, we can grab him. It's a non-issue. Okay. So for Buddy, we don't have him muzzled. We don't have him with the call or a leash on or anything like that, because we know he is most of the time willing to come out. For me, he's always going to come out. When staff does, if he does ever give issue to a new staff member, or for whatever reason, if one day he's just being ornery, when I come in, he will always come for me and not give me any issues. Okay. For Fitz, as I mentioned, Fitz is a newer dog. We just brought him off the floor, so he's got his muzzle on. But when he's in here, now we can unmuzzle him. However, for Fitz, you can see we have him in a smaller kennel. We also have him with a leash hanging out like this. Reason for this is Fitz is not at a stage where he's willingly coming out. So that means that we have to move in to his space in order to grab him. And that's where things get dicey. You guys, it's too big of a kennel too. We're in the smaller kennel. That's why he was in the medium-sized one. Because the problem here is he has too much space to move. The reason for the smaller kennel is there's not much space for him to escape. There's not much space for him to hide. It's very easy for us to go in and grab him. Whereas when the kennel that Buddy was just in, that 4x6 foot kennel, he can tuck away all the way to the back, and it requires us to have to move into the kennel, which, if he were to become aggressive or defensive, puts us in a very dangerous situation. I do have footage of him. The first day he was dropped off, we kept the muzzle on him. I told staff, keep the muzzle on him just in case. But then he made a lot of progress, and he's continued to make progress. So in the beginning, we kept him muzzled all the time. And then as we got comfortable, I began to unmuzzle him at certain times, and now staff can muzzle him and unmuzzle him. However, we still keep him with the leash because he's not willingly coming out as easy as Buddy is. Okay. So for Fitz, you can see like the lip licking here. That lip licking is a stress signal that the lip licking is telling me what I'm about to do right now is stressing out Fitz. This is not because he's had terrible bad experiences with us. It's because he's a nervous dog, okay? And we have to take things a lot slower for him. As I've said, it's been about 2 months now that he's been coming to us. He's made a lot of progress, but we still have to take certain precautions because he is a more serious dog. Ideally, a dog wants to come forward willingly, or that's what we're looking for. So you'll see a little bit of resistance there. So I'm going to go ahead and tap, 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 tap. This is 52, 60, tap, 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 tap. 70, tap, 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 tap. 80, tap, 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 tap. 90, tap, 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 tap. There we go. Good. Okay, a little bit of hackles. We can see the shaking here, right? Shaking, of course, is a stress response. This is just him being stressed with what's going on. This is normal. Once he gets fully comfortable with us, he would be like Buddy and he'd come forward and all that stuff. Buddy in the very beginning was similar. With shaking, we see the stuff on a regular basis with dogs like Fitz and Buddy. But we keep the leash on him because once I have contact, a lot of those behaviors will go away. If we don't have the leash on him and I have to enter the space to get him, he's more likely to escalate, okay? But if I already have the leash on him, I already have contact. So then when I go to open, right, you can see how he's a little bit hesitant. And then he starts to come out here, very cautious. Whereas with Buddy, we saw him come out loosely, tail was wagging loosely. We can see the shaking here. See how I touched him there, how there's that quick little twitch, right? That's his nervousness. You see how he's being cautious? He's kind of holding himself back. And then if given the choice, he's deciding I'd rather go back into the kennel, okay? Very different behavior than what we see with Buddy. Wait him out a little bit. Let's see what he decides to do here. Again, very cautious. If I touch him, you see that little flinch there? See that tension? Okay, and you see how he stiffens up? So I'm gonna go and give a little bit of a light pull. Good. So that, and then he goes right back in. Okay, whereas with Buddy, you saw me kind of hanging there with him, and you see him go all the way to the back of the kennel. Right? See the lip licking, the kind of nervousness, kind of fearfulness. Again, this is genetic for Fitz. This is why Fitz's owners hired me for training. He has leash reactivity issues, both, if I remember correctly, towards dogs and humans, very territorial. All of that stuff is stemming from the behavior that we're seeing here. Again, he's made a lot of progress, but things like with a dog like this move very slow. But this is why keeping a leash on him, like so, makes things easier for us because we can just move him in and out without having to worry about going in and then causing a commotion, right? Meaning he's going to get defensive, he's going to become aggressive. As he continues to come here and trust me and my staff and get more comfortable, at some point we expect him to be like Buddy, where we can approach the kennel and he'll come forward and we can loop him with the leash and just, bring him out, put his equipment on and bring him out, move him onto the activity space. Right now, if he was in the kennel for decompression time, his muzzle would not be on. He gets a break from the muzzle. But because he is a reactive dog, when he's out doing activities, he is muzzled. So right now he was just about to do an activity, and then I was like, I'm gonna film this real quick. So we brought him in here, so that's why he's got that muzzle on. Otherwise, we can now unmuzzle him safely. We can remove his equipment, but he will still have a leash and a collar. I know some people might get concerned with what if the leash gets tangled up or anything. That's why we do this during the day when there's somebody here. He's in the front of the door, so we're going to see him all the time. And we've not had any issue with it. But this allows us to just kind of bypass having to enter until he's been here enough times that he gets enough, he builds enough trust with us to be willingly wanting to come out, okay? So his lack of willingness tells me there might be a problem if I try to go in and if I try to enter the space to bring him out. Unlike Buddy, his willingness to come out tells me very unlikely to see something here, okay? It's always a possibility, but those two things are the biggest difference between whether or not a dog is going to be defensive or aggressive, or if they're going to be easygoing and compliant. All right. So just a little thing that we do here, depending on the dog. Again, both Fitz and Buddy are more serious dogs. When they bite with intent. They bite with a good level of force. So we take things as slow as needed until the dog is comfortable enough with myself and my staff, so that we keep everybody safe. I'm just with Canine Perspective. Thank you for watching.